Hello everyone. So today I have come up with another real-time Salesforce project that I have created entirely using Lightning Web Component and REST API integration. So the interesting part here is that I have not made use of any Apex class, although REST API integration is involved here. So let me just give you the quick demo of the application that I have created called Currency Converter. It will actually convert your amount from one particular currency to another currency based on live exchange rates. So let me just show you quickly. If I want to convert 10 US dollars to Indian rupees, let me click on this button. It will show me the calculated result saying 10 USD is equals to 835.66 INR. Along with that, it will also show you the unit price converted rate. So this is 1 USD is equals to 83.56 some INR. So this is the actual data I am getting from external system and using that exchange rate to multiply and do the calculation of the same and show the result here. Let's say I want to convert 10 Indian rupees to Japan yen, and this will again make an API call to external system, get the unit exchange rate and do the calculation and show the result here. So this application is actually very helpful. I will share in this video, I will share the step-by-step guidance on how you can achieve this functionality along with code review that I have written, as well as the external system, the setup. That the most important part is the setup that we have to do before even start writing the code. So before writing the code, we have to do the setup, which is very important. So make sure you don't skip this video and watch it with focus. So first of all, we have to go to this external system called abstract API. This is where I'm calling the API to get the exchange rate of real time today's date of, as you know that these exchange rates actually change every day. So the current date's exchange rate, if I want to get, I need to have an account here. So you have to go to this abstract API. I'll provide this link in the description. Create your account with your Google email or any other credentials. Then you will find one option here called exchange rates. Once you click on it, this page will open. In this page, you will get to know that your API primary key, which is nothing but API key, will be generated. This is unique to you, and these are the endpoints that we have to make use of in order to get the exchange rate. So if you see, the URL framework is something like this. This is the domain URL of this abstract system. Then comes the question mark where your parameters will start. The first mandatory parameter is API key. So this is something which you can get here only. It will generate your API key. Then you have to provide the base currency from which currency you want to convert. So this will change based on your selection USD, and the target currency where you want to convert it. So let me just copy this entire URL, paste it over here, and I will show you how the outcomes actually looks like. Let me just click on this. So you see the result will be something like this. This is your base currency. Then last updated, this will give you the when was this exchange rate last updated, the date along with time. Then there is a node called exchange rates, under which you will find your target currency euros. So 1 USD is equals to actually 0.93. Let me change this euros to INR. Click on this pretty print, and here INR 1 USD is equals to 83.56 INR. And if you don't give the target, so basically target is not the mandatory parameter, I would say. Only API key and you and the base currency are the mandatory. So if you don't put the target currency, it will give you the result of all the other currencies available. So your base will be USD, and it will give you the result of all other currencies available in the market. So 1 USD is equals to 0.93 euros, 158.38 Japan yen, and this is how you will get everything. But if you want to specifically find the conversion of USD to euros or INR, then you have to provide the target as well. So I hope this part was clear that we are making use of this external system. So make sure you create your account, get your primary key, and note down this endpoint URL that will be making use in our Lightning Web Component to make an API call to this system. And this is how you understood that how you get the result based on your whatever endpoint you provide. All right, let's move on to the second part. So you have to, since we are making use of this abstract system without any Apex class, so there won't be any named credentials, but you have to whitelist these endpoints. basically let Salesforce know that this is the external system that I trust, and I can make API call to this. So there is something called trust URLs in Salesforce. If you come to Salesforce, you will find trust URLs. Here you have to create, I mean, define the domain URL of the external system where you want to make an API call. So the system or the Salesforce system understands that I can make API call to this. So you don't have to put the entire URL, only the domain URL, that is until .com or .in. So if you see this URL, until this .com is the domain URL. After that slash and everything, that is called a path, and after the question mark, that is, those are known as parameters. So we only should be concerned till this domain URL. So that I have already done in my org. Make sure you also do it. This is the primary step to make API call to any external system. All right, so this is, I have already created one more endpoint, I mean trusted URLs I have added, is because I have made use of this background image. If you see, there is a full background image which is I'm getting from external system only. So that external system URL also I have defined under this uh, trusted URL, so that it can get me those. This is actually a very cool external system which provides us some very interactive images. Okay, now these two steps are done. You are aware of the external system. Now you have added those external system under your trusted URLs. Now the next step comes, that is we have to create our lightning web component. Okay, so you don't have to go through this line by line. I will provide this code in the GitHub. You can download it and apply into your org as well. I'll just give you the overview as what I have done here and why there is no use of Apex class, although I am making an API call. That is something which we will be focusing on my code. So here, first of all, the HTML part of the currency converter, it has four parts: HTML, JavaScript, CSS for the background image that I've added, and then this meta XML that contains the property of this. So this nothing but it accepts the amount. So there will be a lightning input. I will just show you the UI as well, so you are able to relate it very well. So it accepts an amount which is nothing but a number type of lightning input, as you can see here. Then there are combo boxes. As you can see, this contains the options to select from which conversion currency you want to convert. So I created this combo box, and from where I'm getting the options, let me show you that as well. You see, there is an there is attribute called options. So this is actually a JavaScript property where I have already filled the options here. So let me go to the JavaScript part of it, and if you see this currencies, I have created the constant variable called currencies. This is the label of it that will be visible on the UI, and this is the value of it that will be considered for usage purposes. So these currencies, I have just assigned this to this property called currency options. That is something I'm using here. Currency options, I have already defined them on the JavaScript here. You can add multiples giving comma here. You can add multiples whatever you have in your mind. I have just these 10 or 12 options to display there. So this is from currency option, from which currency you want to convert. So you can see from label was already there here, from, and these are the options available, currency options that I have provided on the JavaScript. Then the second combo box, where from to which currency you want to convert. Again, this is also using the same currency options whatever the above is using. Basically they will have the same options to display on the drop down. And then there is a conditional display part. This is conditional part which will only be visible once I click on that button and some useful data has come up. So that is why I have put this inside a if condition, that to show this data when this property is true. Let's skip this part for now and move on to the next part, that there is a button. This one, there is a button called get converted rate, and there is a small icon beside that called utility money. You can see, if I simply hide that part for now, these are the only parts available. Once I click on this button, then this method will be called on click handle conversion. So this is the JavaScript method basically here, and here the main thing happens. And you must be aware of, like, if I change any options, like I'm changing the amount, so that amount value will be stored in my variable, because I'll be using this amount to perform the calculation, right? Then again, from the drop down, if you are changing USD to INR, those all changes will be captured behind the scene here into the respective variables. You can see I have made use of those variables here as well. So value from currency, and for this one to currency. So this is simple part, handle change. Whatever change I do on the UI, those are being captured in one of the variables here. But the main thing happen on the click of this button called get converted rate. And on click of this button, this method is invoked. Now we will get to know where, how are we making the API call. So on click of this button, this handle conversion will will be invoked, and I'm controlling that visibility of the spinner based on this. So if you see, once I click on this button, there is a spinner that rotates, and then once I get the result, it disappears. So that is also I'm controlling based on this property, but that is not something important. This is the important part. So we should have an endpoint. So if you see, this is the domain URL. As I was saying there, let's copy that URL from that abstract API website. Then API key you are already aware of. Once you create your account, you will get your API key, use it here, and then the other parameter will be there, and base equals to, so whatever this dot from currency, whatever option I select from this drop down will be used, appended here after base equals to, because that is dynamic. I'm not sure the user which option he selects. Okay, and then there should be another parameter, and I'm just appending that entire string to form a proper endpoint. Then and target, so whatever to currency I select, that is whatever option I select here, that will be appended here. Okay, and it makes use of the short form of the currency. Although I am displaying Japan yen, but behind the scene, if you see here, for Japan yen, I'm the value is JPY, so the target is equals to JPY. From currency, that is base equals to USD and target equals to JPY, something like that. So the short form of that currency will go. I'm also displaying this endpoint here to see on the console what is my entire string format. The format is very important. And then comes the important part here. Fetch is the standard JavaScript method which will make an API call to external system. It just accepts the endpoint URL, and make sure it is, since it is an open source API, that anyone just come and make an API call with an API key. There is no authorization required, there is no certificate required, and there is no authentication required. So we can definitely make use of fetch. Otherwise we should have used apex class if there was some authentication required, like client ID, client secret. But since this is an open source system, we can simply make use of this fetch method, provide the endpoint URL, and then it will return us the response. We will convert that response into JSON first. This dot then means after calling this method, it's like try and catch. Okay, once the method is called, then I am entering this then, so converting that response into JSON. After this JSON conversion is done, then again I am using another then. So it's a step by step happening. Okay, after converting the response into JSON, I'm just going through that data. So as you know, we have seen here, if I just go back here and give it target equals and target equals to euros, let's say this one only. So you see the JSON structure is something like this. There will be a base variable, and then under that there is exchange rate, which is actually a object. Under that object you will find your exchange rate. So similarly, you see, data is your entire result in JSON format, this. Okay, then dot exchange rate, I am now entering into the exchange rate node, because I am most concerned about this part. I know the base, I don't consider the last updated time, I only need the exchange rate. So I went inside that data dot exchange rate, and since that is an object, I need to provide the node name. So since we already storing that node that two currency value into one property here. I'm just making it use here. So under the exchange rates node, there is a two currency node which I want. So I will get the conversion rate. This is what I'm storing in one of the variables. Then in order to make a calculation, I just need to multiply it. Simple calculation, the amount that I've entered into the conversion rate of that particular currency. Two fixed means I just want the result in two decimal places. Okay. So this will give me the converted value. Amount multiplied by conversion rate will give me the converted value. And now I am making this property show converted value equals to true. So once this is true, if you go back to the HTML part, that is why I skipped for that. I mean, at that time, I'm using that condition here, show converted value. Initially, it will be false, but once the calculation is complete, it will be true, and this part will visible. And here I am displaying in strong bold message the amount that I have entered. It is nothing but, you see, whatever amount I entered, I am just storing that into a variable called this dot amount. So it will display amount from currency, whatever currency I have selected from the drop down is equals to converted value property. So this converted value is nothing but the conversion, that calculation that happened here, is equals to converted value to currency. So that's what you saw previously. As soon as I clicked on that button, amount from currency is equals to converted value then to currency. You see, then just below that part there is one more message. I'm displaying the unit currency conversion, that is 1 JPY, whatever from currency I've selected, is equals to converted rate, conversion rate. So this I have already stored here. You see, first I have stored that single unit conversion rate into one variable and then use that variable to perform the calculation. So that I'm displaying just beside that message. So that is it. And for the background image purpose, if you see on the main here, I have called this CSS class background, which is defined in my CSS here. You see, background is the class, CSS class name. It makes use of this image, and these are the properties of the image: position, size, and everything. You can, so it looks better actually. Having a good background to an application makes visibly very attractive. So that is why, if you see, I have just added this URL as the inside my trusted URLs. If I go back to the trusted URLs, you see that was the domain URL, gelastic.com here, and this is the image. You just get everything on the GitHub. Make sure you make use of it, and that's the reason I have added this domain URL inside my trusted URLs. So this is what. Now we are done with the coding part of it. Let me go to the last part, that is meta XML. So if you want to make use of this LWC component in your home page, you can make use of. I have used on my community portal here because I want to share this community portal with you as well. You can have a look, have a real time experience. But if you want to make use of in your Salesforce org, then I have done that as well. See, this is the Salesforce org, where inside under the home page I have just added this component and I'm simply using it. It does the same thing. And in order to use this component in your experience cloud portal, then you have to define these two targets: lightning community page and lightning community default, so that this component will be available. So yeah, we are done with this code review as well. And we are also done with all the steps that are needed to build this application. I hope this application will give you a good hands-on experience in getting LWC component as well as integration things, stuffs and everything clear. And yeah, I just got to remember that thank you very much for giving overwhelming response in my previous real-time Salesforce project which I have created. Let me show you, that is also open here, the live train status. So this is actually just information I'm giving on my previous video. I have received enormous response, and people have been requesting that they want me to create some more similar kind of projects so that they get hands-on experience. So in this project actually I have included integration, Apex class, and LWC component. So if you want to learn this as well, please make sure to watch my another video on live train status. This code is also available in my GitHub. You can just download and use it. In order to know the step by step process, you have to watch the video. I will provide the link. And thank you very much for watching.